Hi, this is James again, and we're going to be going over part 5. And during this is going to be the sports festival slash training for the sports festival. I'll go over a few things about the sports festival at the end, but not really get into it until the next subsequent um, episodes of this What If. And this will be part 5 of what if Deku was born with a hybrid quirk. So I think last where we left off, Deku had come back to class, and everyone's kind of was shocked about how he looked, because he went from basically looking sort of like this to looking like something like this. So I need to explain what exactly happened with his body when he pretty much saved Kendo's life. Because how the reason why he blacked out is because Kendo did was literally dying, and if Deku didn't do what he did when he did, like she would have died a couple of seconds after taking that blow. So what Deku did is he basically took on all the damage that she had, and her entire left side of her body was from her shoulder up was basically shattered, and she had brain hemorrhaging and stuff like that. And it so that's why he kind of blacked out, because he wasn't able to redirect all of the damage. So he did sustain a little bit of damage to his brain, but he wasn't able to withstand all that damage. So he ripped his muscle tissue, his bone, he had portions of his bone missing, and his hands got all screwed up. So now he kind of wears gloves, so that he specially designed gloves that have a little slit in them, so that it does expose a little skin, and it's on both the palm of his hand and the in each knuckle. At the when you ball a fist up, the knuckle, like your knuckles, each of those are missing, and then he has a slit on the palm of his hand. The knuckles are for his black whip slash his blood tendrils. And his black whip are more of the offense slash defense, and his blood tendrils he can use to mark people with. Basically, what he does is he encoats a couple of the black whip tendrils with some of his blood, and he's able to mark people with them. But if he's doing the damage transfer, he has to actually slice his palm up. It's one of the it's one of the triggers for that portion of the quirk. So that being said, with all the damage that he had, he literally lost parts of his body. He lost muscle tissue, he lost bone matter, his bone density kind of weakened, and his after getting shattered and stuff. And so he's essentially gone back to square one, but every single time this happens, just like in the anime The Seven Deadly Sins, when Bond was in purgatory after like thousands of years, like his body adapted. Basically, Izuku's superhuman quirk allows him to adapt to things faster. So, him being sickly when he was a baby because of him subconsciously as a baby and a kid permanently like staying linked to his like having like a permanent mark on his mom because they did share like blood when he was in the womb and everything. So like that's why he's sick, because his quirk just he didn't consciously learn, like he couldn't control it, and it's just something that he was just born with. So him being sickly, always catching bugs and stuff, kind of like boosted his immune system and his immune response and everything. So when he fulfilled like the permanent bond with Katsuki and his mom, like that night, it kind of evolved his quirk to where he could passively control it. It's like a second nature to him. He doesn't really need to seriously think about it. He can just do it. So that being said, let's get into this part 5. So like that's Saturday of the week after he gets back, like his skin complexion has come back to normal. His eyes are still like, the irises still kind of glow a little bit, and in the dark, like you can, it's kind of like unless you were looking directly at him, it's not like he's sending up like light beams. Like you would have to be within like, let's say 2-3 meters at max to kind of see his eyes glowing. So 6 to 9 feet away from him, you would have to be in like a 6 to 9 foot radius to like actually see his eyes glowing in the dark. And with this, like over the week, like Deku has just been feeling kind of weird, and he's kind of talked to Katsuki about it, like, like I'm kind of feeling like I did back after like I healed All Might, and like I don't know, I feel like my quirk kind of evolved again. And Katsuki's like, dude, like you, every single time I get one up on you, this happens. God, you sure are making this like kind of rough on me, man. And Izuku's like, I can't control it, like that my quirk develops such weird ways and everything, man. Like I just can't help it. And Katsuki's like, yeah, I get it. It's just, you really are like someone that I can eternally chase and like have an eternal rivalry with, like someone that I can really, that can push me to like get stronger, like, and won't really plateau that much. And that being said, I did say in an early part that Deku's physical strength will plateau at a point, but the power of his quirk won't. Theoretically, the power of his hybridization quirk mixed with his superhuman quirk, like, because I call it hybrid for the simple fact that his superhuman quirk is an innate ability from his blood bond slash blood pact quirk, like blood bond, blood oath, blood pact, like whatever language you want to use to call it, basically is a a blood adaptation quirk, and because of that, it's given him like superhuman qualities, like as a base secondary quirk. So, with each iteration of power or stuff, with when he adapts or when he bonds with someone like permanently, he does an equal exchange of power where their quirk kind of gets mutated, and it's not just with that person that he's bonding with, but everyone that he's bonded with can, like, they receive an adaptation to their own quirk. And so that's one of the reasons why the government kind of is keeping like the true ability of his quirk kind of under wraps, and there's not really any physical records of it. In all the physical or digital records of his what his quirk exactly is like, it just says the hybrid quirk, and it lists like 30 different like 30 different things of like because like it has many uses basically, and they leave out key factors like him permanently bonding to people and mutating his own quirk and everything, because every single time he bonds with someone, like, his own quirk mutates and basically takes on certain qualities and properties of that person's quirk and basically passes it on throughout the entire network, like adaptations to other people's quirks. So that is how we'll continue with the story. Sorry about the tangent, but I just recently like went back through my videos and stuff and realized I didn't really explain his quirk fairly well, and I'm still leaving out a few points with it because it's stuff that won't arise until later in the series. So this is like that Friday after he's back, so he walks up to Katsuki and he's like, "Yo, Katsuki, are you..." Or no, Kirishima walks up to Katsuki and he's like, "Katsuki, are you and Izuku going to train together?" And Katsuki is like, "Nah, I kind of promised Araka to help her," and he kind of like pulls like Kirishima close and like kind of whispers to him, he's like, "Kind of like her, so maybe I can make a move after basically the sports festival and everything." Like, he actually does kind of like Araka, and unbeknownst to him, like with him talking to Araka, because Izuku kind of pushed them together when she, like, on the first day of school, because he was talking with like Kirishima and Ida, and when Uraka ran up, Izuku kind of pushed Katsuki to kind of like talk to her and everything. So like they have been talking, like the kind of relationship that Izuku and Uraka have in canon. Katsuki and Uraka have a similar relationship to that. Like, they're good friends, and it's kind of like, are they gonna get together? Are they not? But in this, with Katsuki all like definitely being more, God, the English word for that is confident. with him being more confident in these areas of life, he expressed it to Kirishima that he kind of likes Uraraka and he thinks she's kind of cute. So at this, like, Katsuki, it like tells Kirishima this, and Kirishima's like, okay, gotcha. You think Izuku would be up for it? And then Katsuki's like, I'll ask him, but I can say he will probably say yes. Like, and this conversation is happening during like their lunch period, and Izuku had to leave early to the nurse's office for minor treatment and rest because he's fatigued because of the stamina drain, like in the strain that this whole recovery process has like put on his body because of what he did to save Kendo. And because of the extreme strain on his body, it's kind of like weakened his stamina reserves. And because his superhuman quirk trying to repair like his accelerated regeneration is kind of taking up most of his stamina. So he doesn't have the stamina reserves that he normally would have. And so Katsuki comes to the nurse's office and he's like, yo, Izu, you up? Got your evening classes work, and also Kirishima wants to train with you. And Izuku's like, you're not joining. Are you gonna join? And Katsuki's like, nope, sorta helping someone else. And Izuku kind of like smirks while he's looking at Katsuki, and he's like, let me guess, for Raka. Good for you, man. And then Katsuki's kind of like, dude, come on. And so they go back a little bit, back and forth, like Izuku kind of teasing him, and then Katsu rebuttals, and he's like, well, what about those two that were in your hospital room like last week? And Izuku's like, it's not like that. Because Izuku, yeah, he does like women, he does like females, and he's never really thought about it. It's not something that he's really thought about, so he's more in a platonic way. But then after Katsuki kind of said that, he started thinking about it, and he's like, yeah, like either one's kind of cute. Like he's thinking both of them were kind of cute, like they did know each other when they were kids and stuff. And he's slowly been remembering more and more about Momo and Kendo, because like it isn't that he really forgot them, it's just he's never like put serious thought behind when he was a kid because of the trauma he suffered of losing his mom and his dad, and it's like a period of his life he doesn't really like thinking about. And with that little psychological handicap that he did have, combined with what happened with Kendo and him absorbing damage, it kind of like, that's why he blacked out, and like he kind of like broke down, like he had an episode like afterwards and everything. And so we get on to this. So at this point, Izuku is at 90% completely recovered, where there's like no fatigue strain at all or anything, you know? And so Kendo and Momo have been discussing, like, over the week and everything, that they will let Izuku choose in his own time as far as, like, which one to that he'll approach and everything. And they're kind of getting their hopes up that he'll approach them, but unbeknownst to them, that's not something Izuku kind of feels comfortable about, like, doing, you know? So it's gonna be on them to kind of, like, go after him. And kind of do this. And there's a little something that I mentioned in the last part that's going to play a big role in this. So after like the week, they kind of like that same Friday afternoon towards the end of the school day, they kind of like go and visit and talk to Deku and everything. And he's already called, like, Katsuki has already called Kirishima to let him know that Deku wants to, like, meet up with him. And that they're gonna come over to, like, their place because Kirishima has been to their house. So, like, they come up and they're talking to Deku and everything, asking, like, they say you seem like you're doing a lot better. The color, like, the pigmentation on your skin's back to normal. And they kind of look at his eyes and they're like, it's going to take some bit to get used to that, though. And then Izuku kind of chuckles and is like, yeah, like, I kind of freaked myself out. I freaked myself out this morning when I looked in the mirror, like, I didn't, like, it still hasn't settled in the coloration of my eyes yet. And so Kendo and Momo kind of ask Deku if they can hang out tomorrow. And Izuku kind of says, well, I already promised and had plans with Kirishima to kind of, like, train some. You know, like, nothing, like, too serious, just, like, minor exercises to kind of, like, get, like, so I don't lose too much and kind of, like, just slowly get back into things, you know, because at this point, in the back of his mind, he's like, I can't let Katsuki get ahead of me, and because of the evolution, because of how Izuku's quirk works, Katsuki thinks the same thing. It's like, I can't let Izuku outdo me. Like, I'm the older cousin, I'm the older brother, I'm supposed to be stronger, kind of thing. And, like, so they have, like, a real sibling rivalry where they constantly are trying to, like, outdo each other in technique or power of their quirk and stuff like that. So at this point, Momo kind of says, hey, why not all of you just come over to my place? We have a really big gym with a bunch of different equipment that's actually geared to physical therapy and stuff like that, because sometimes I've overdid my quirk and I've had to, like, do some minor, like, calisthenic training and stuff. And we also have a track to kind of, like, build up, like, endurance and everything. And we have a bunch of different types of weights and stuff. And so they kind of agree with this. So Izuku kind of meets up with Kirishima because Katsuki told him that Izuku said he'd meet him up out front today. And he explains to Kirishima about, like, what's going on with Momo and Kendo, about, like, going over to Momo's place. And Kirishima kind of, like, asks, is like, well, do you think Momo would have a problem with another person coming? And Izuku's kind of like, he kind of looks at Kirishima and he's like, what for? And he's like, well, Ashido kind of asked if she can join us because she's seen, like, how much I improved over the 10 months and everything just from, like, training with you, and she kind of wants to like refine a few things, and because she asked me, is like, how did you get so strong, and like, how did you get so much quirk control? And I told her that you kind of helped me out with that and everything. I didn't really go into details, basically saying that you punched me for like almost like 5 months straight. It didn't really explain like that you're using your quirk and stuff. You could actually give people a strength boost and stuff like that, and a stamina boost, so that they can work out a little bit stronger. And then with your damage transfer, you can kind of do that. And Izuku at this point is like, well, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that for at least like another week, and maybe like 5 days at the earliest, because the thing with kendo kind of really took a huge toll on me. And that's why I kind of want to get back into like doing minor workouts and everything, and like working on my forms and stuff like that. So Izuku like kind of calls up Momo, because they did exchange contact information. So like the next morning they can find Momo's place. So he asked her, like, do you think it's possible for one more person to come? And she's like, who is it? And she's like, Oshido, like the acid girl from class. And she's like, yeah, sure, I've actually talked to her. Like, she seems pretty nice and pretty cool. And Izuku tells Kirishima this, and he's like, cool, sweet, I'll let her know this afternoon. And because in the anime it shows that Kirishima and Ashido are actually from like the same middle school, and like they've known each other for at least a year before the start of the anime. And so we are at 27 minutes. This one's actually going to go... No, actually, I'll do this. This will just be this will be part 5A, and then I'll do a part 5B. Just so I can really talk about what happens at Momo's place. And really go into it, so I'm not doing like an hour and 15-minute video. So with that, I'll see you guys in the next part.